Now, one person who is definitely at the forefront of ensuring that as many people as possible do go and obtain their PVCs is Banky W. And he's here with us in the studio today to tell us more on exactly why you need to get out there, you need to get your PVC, and why voting is the most important part of civic engagement.
And sometimes I worry that maybe I'm starting to sound like a broken record, right? It's like maybe I've been saying the same things over and over to try and drive the point home, but maybe people are tired of hearing it. But I don't care if people are tired, because the truth needs to be told, and because I honestly feel like Nigeria's destiny is in the hands of the young people. But if all we ever do is retweets and hashtags, if all we ever do is post on Twitter and post on Instagram and all of these things and just let it die there, then come on, we're fooling ourselves. We're being hypocrites. We are exhibiting the same behaviors that have held Nigeria back for decades. It has to go beyond social media. It has to go beyond one-on-one conversations. It has to go into actual action. And the first step of that is, let's at least, even if you don't know who you're voting for, even if you're undecided, there are too many candidates, nobody's saying what you want to hear, no problem. Just get the card first. When people say, oh, I don't know, I don't support any of the candidates, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm like, so essentially what you're saying to me is that you will give your voice away because you don't yet know what you want to say. Like, you know, just think about that. You have a voice that God gave you and you want to give it away because you don't yet know what you want to say. You don't know what you want to say, fine, but just hold on to your voice, because one day you will. One day something might hit home that is close to you. Something might hit home. It might be a terrorism attack, God forbid. It might be an armed robbery incident. It might be somebody needing a job. Something will hit home in this country that is close to you one day. And you will regret the fact that you didn't even use the voice that you have.
Absolutely.
It starts with just get the card first. Now, as far as policies goes for the common man, it's a game of numbers. Do you have the numbers to show up that means that these people must be held accountable to you or not? It's that simple. Now, what happens in Nigeria and in Africa is that we go years and years of complaining, but we don't show that the numbers are actually effective. So there are people who will sell their votes for 5K and a bag of rice. They've always done it, they're going to. There are some people that will vote with their, you know, this guy says, you know, this is who we should vote for, this is who we vote for. And, you know, so there are people that are in the system now who are going to do what they're going to do. But the rest of us who are actually frustrated, who actually want a better country, who actually want to see this progress happen, we greatly outnumber those people, but we don't show up. You say 80, 90 million people registered, 15 million people, 15 plus, decided who was going to be president out of a country of over 200 million. You know, I don't know. I don't know how we ensure, but what I do know is that I want to be part of the group of people that want to be part of the progress that we want to see. So if you don't bother to register, or if you register and you don't show up to the polls, or any of those things, then you really don't want a better Nigeria. You don't. Like, we got to get to the point where we're honest with ourselves, right? Like, let's stop. You know, you can lie to the world, but you can't lie to yourself. So if you don't at least show up to register to vote, to be counted, if you don't show up to the polls, if you don't at least speak your voice, which is the bare minimum. We're not even saying, some of us have been on all the protests on the streets. Some of us, you know, because we're that into it and we're that, you know, convinced or whatever word you want to use. But maybe that's not you. But in the very least, get your card and vote, at least. I try to have a balanced view about everything in life. Like, balance is very important to me. This administration, I do not agree with a significant number of decisions that they've taken. One thing that I do agree with, that I'm proud of, is that this is the administration that signed the Not Too Young to Run bill. Yeah. Because as a country, it was in the law that unless you were essentially old, you couldn't run for political office. It was in the law. So all of us young people that have been running around for years, you had to be an old person. And you know, old people are kind of stuck in their ways. They're no disrespect to old people, but you know, Nigeria is a stressful
These
place.
same old
man.
people
We
that
have
have
to
been
move
in
with the
power
times.
when
Thank you.
we're young,
Yeah.
and they called us the leaders of tomorrow, and they're
Thank
still
you.
holding the power.
Thank you.
Tomorrow has
You know
come.
what? We just hosted President Macron a week ago
Yes.
at the Shrine, which was iconic, and I'm so grateful that I was part of it. But it's like, he's 40 years old. That's 3 years older than me. And until this year, it was impossible for somebody who was 30-something to even run for office.
Yeah.
Now, that has changed, right? The president has signed it into law. It's passed through all the procedures it needs to pass through. So not from 2019, but from the next election cycle, if you are 30-something and you decide that you want to, play a role in the affairs of the country, you can. But guess what? That person does not stand a chance at all if all of us do not show up. Doesn't stand a chance. It's pointless. Listen, we have an opportunity as young people in Nigeria. That opportunity is to take the power back as a people, is to have a voice. Why do we have elections in this country and we don't even have a real debate? Like, you want to convince millions of young people to vote for you because you think you're the right person to lead this country or to lead your state or to be a senator or to be a House of Representatives. You don't even have a debate. You don't even come with your opponents and say, these are my policies, this is what I'm going to do for you, for young people, for the country, for the states, for whatever. You don't even, when Goodluck was running for re-election, we tried to get like a debate that was organized by young people. They wouldn't even come. Most of the major candidates wouldn't even come. You know why? Because they knew they didn't need to.
Yeah.
They knew that they didn't need to. They knew that they didn't have to answer to us. So we ran around, we made noise, and then we had a couple of candidates that were like lesser known and not major candidates. And it was a decent debate, but it wasn't.
It wasn't what you wanted.
It wasn't the real thing. Like, it wasn't the people who had a chance to win.
And it's
Because
actually
they
quite
don't need to
mind-boggling
answer to us.
Because we see it happening in so many other countries around the world. It's time for the US elections and you see the presidents going head to head or the aspiring presidents going head to head.
Now, at least come out and make a case to the young people of
Absolutely.
Nigeria and tell us why.
Yesterday.
Why should we vote for you? Why? I'm so passionate about this still, despite the fact that I have been for many years, because I believe that it is possible. I still believe that it's possible. I still believe that Nigeria can be better. I still believe that we can create a better country for our kids, can create a better country for ourselves and for the next generation. But I also believe that every country has the leadership it deserves. Every state, every city, every town, every organization has the leadership it deserves. Because in Africa and in Nigeria specifically, it's a problem of failed leadership, bad leadership, corrupt leadership, depends on who is on seats at different times in our history, but also majorly a problem of citizen apathy. We're used to it. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about the fact that you're used to the way that Nigeria is? You're used to Boko Haram bombings now. Do you ever think, there was a time that we used to say Nigeria could never have a suicide bomber.
We're disengaged
Because you've become numb.
Desensitized, exactly.
You've become desensitized to society. So it's just bad news after bad news after bad news. It's a bomb, it's an armed robbery attack, it's the fact that we have the most children out of school in the world, in this country.
The highest number of citizens in extreme poverty.
The highest number of people, we're setting records. Now, the ironic thing about Nigeria, and this is what's so frustrating, is that it's also a great place. I have a career here. You have careers. Wizkid, Davido, entertainment, fashion, music. There are people that are doing incredible things. And even outside of entertainment, the guy who did the concussion research in the States, I forget his name right now, but the surgeon.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is that Nigerians by nature are outliers. We excel. Given the tools, given an opportunity. And Nigerian is we're a lot of things, but we're not lazy. We're hardworking.
Very true.
We're hardworking, we're passionate, we're talented, we're creative. And that's why you see Nigerians breaking boundaries everywhere across the world. Nigerians as themselves are hardworking, talented, passionate outliers. Nigeria as an institution, as a country, is not. Nigeria is constantly making the news for the wrong reasons. And the first step as a citizen, get your voter's card.
Yeah.
Let them know that there are 20 million new young people that they have to account
As a matter of
65% or so of us are young in Nigeria. But how many of us actually show up? How many of us leave our phones and our computers to say, I'm going to go and register to vote? And it's not going to be easy. Because there are people that are benefiting off of the status quo.
Actually,
You don't have lights, right? There are people that are billionaires that make money off the fact that you do not have lights.
Yeah.
So it's not in their interest to make things easy for you to register to vote, to change. For you, there are people that are benefiting off of that. And we as young people especially need to get to the point where we realize that this is what is going on.